Hey everyone, this is my review for the season premiere of Superman and Lois Season 3 titled Closer. So I don't see how the description has anything to do with the episode, so I'm just gonna skip that. This episode was amazing, such a great start to the season. For context, I wasn't as negative on Season 2 as it seems most people were. In fact, I loved the first 2/3 more than the first season, but then again, I also wasn't as big of a fan of Season 1 as most people were, especially the back half, which got too drawn out and repetitive at some points, and that's been the show's one main constant problem, because I definitely agree that the back half of Season 2 was much weaker, especially once Allie actually became Parasite. But then they gave us that amazing finale, a much better crisis than the actual one we got, and maybe a perfect series wrap up. But the show's not over, at least for now, and we pick up pretty much where we left off, with the Kent family creating this new fortress while the town is recovering, and there's like this new sense of hope throughout the whole episode, and it's this cool contrast to Season 1 when they first arrived and Smallville was pretty much dying. Now it's like this world-ending event brought everyone together and brought back hope into this town. Superman brought back hope into this town. I think you can especially feel it during the party scene. Everyone's so carefree and relaxing, all the smiles, all the heartwarming reactions when they're watching the twins' childhood slideshow. Even when the old mayor came in and it feels like they're all ready to stand up to him. This episode was directed by Tom Cavanagh, best known for playing the Reverse Flash, and wow, what an amazing job. I remember people were saying this about Season 1 and the pilot, but this really felt like a movie. The visuals were amazing, the pacing was great, the world felt so big and lived in, which is kinda rare for these CW shows nowadays. I loved going back to Metropolis and exploring new parts like Suicide Slums, not just the same block that all of these shows film on. We got that awesome shot of Clark in the fire, which didn't make much sense, but I love the stylistic look they're going for. They did a great job spreading out screen time between characters. It's like everyone got their own short arc this episode, though at first I felt like we weren't getting much of Jonathan, maybe to help with the transition, but then we got more of him in the back half. The new Jonathan's pretty good so far. His voice is definitely gonna take some getting used to, but I love that they just threw him in there and acted like nothing changed. Not even one of those jokes like, "Oh John, did you get a new haircut?" Nope, just this is Jonathan now, let's move on. But he didn't really feel like Jonathan until the party scene, and even then it's a bit different, but I kinda love it. Like that scene between him and Jordan on the porch, they had great chemistry, but it just didn't feel like the Jonathan and Jordan we know. So Lois's whole storyline this episode was going after Bruno Manheim once again, that one case that she could never solve, and now John Henry gave her new hope for it. She started by seeking out John's sister since Bruno killed him on this earth, and turns out there was more going on between them, and that visit led Lois to finding out that she might be pregnant. That leads to the whole main dilemma of the episode, which is, do they want more kids? For Clark, it's a bit uncertain, but throughout the episode's events, he becomes more and more open to it. While for Lois, it quickly became a certain yes, especially seeing the kids hit these milestones, watching the slideshow and seeing how far they've come, Lana reminding her why she loved motherhood in the first place, which just makes it hurt even more when she finds out the test came back negative, especially considering her miscarriage. It's like all this hope everyone felt throughout the episode was just ripped away from her at the end. I was wondering if her miscarriage had anything to do with what Clark was saying, that he thought that this wasn't possible. Is there more to it that we haven't learned yet? Or were the twins still born on Argo on this Earth, and he's saying that because it's not possible to have them on Earth? But that brings up too many questions, so maybe he was just talking about menopause. I'm curious how these feelings are gonna impact Lois going forward, but for now it seems like the main storyline is gonna be whatever illness she might have instead. As much as I hope they're not doing a breast cancer storyline, considering her symptoms and that she had just said Henry Miller had a brain tumor, that's most likely where they're going. I can see her throwing herself into her work as a result, going further and further into her investigation like she did with Allie, growing closer with John Henry's sister, and that leading her to Bruno, who's gonna do something to cure her. It's tricky territory because superhero stories usually avoid topics like curing cancer because you can't do that in real life, but we'll see what happens. I just hope they don't give her permanent powers because the current family dynamic works really well, especially this episode when we see Clark training Jordan, contrasted with Lois trying to teach Jonathan to drive. But whatever Bruno's doing to Henry, he definitely did it to this Earth's John Henry too. He probably got mortally wounded in the service and Bruno saved his life. That's why his sister felt like she didn't know him before he died. I just wonder if Onomatopoeia was another one of his test subjects. Do they all get the same powers or do they vary and that's how they got theirs? Because right now it seems like they might only communicate through sound effects. Also, I'm not a huge fan of their mask. They should have just kept it more simple like the comics. I'm also thinking the old mayor's gotta be involved with Manheim somehow. That's why he showed up warning Lana. Since this year they've got Clark and Lois dealing with Manheim together, maybe they're giving the secondary villain to Lana instead, and eventually it's gonna tie into Bruno. What if they're replacing the whole kryptonite mines concept with the mold? Even though the mayor claims that kids have strong lungs, maybe it's hurt enough people to create a business for Manheim, or maybe even for Luthor. Wait, what if since they were working together before, what if they're doing the whole storyline where Lex is imprisoned with cancer like on Supergirl, and Bruno is doing all of this to find a cure for him, and then Lex will be the big bad in the back half? Well, this was a great start to the season, probably one of the show's best episodes. It's got a lot of them. There's a lot of interesting plots going forward for everyone, and I'm actually excited for all of them now, even Sam's. I love how he thought that his night with Natalie went well till John came in and yelled at him. My one complaint would be Chrissy and Kyle acting like teenagers after they hooked up, but it seems like that's not gonna go any further. Whatever happens with James Gunn's DCEU, I just hope that they don't cancel the show, cause Tyler Hoechlin has for sure become my definitive Superman, and they were tied before, but Bitsy might have replaced Erica Durance as my favorite Lois Lane. Well, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe for similar content. Leave your thoughts on the video and episode in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.